Hello students, I hope you are doing well. So this was the conceptual doubt asked by one of my students. So let me just briefly tell you all what was the doubt. So you have this object here on the ground, right? Let's say this is the ground where you are throwing a ball or some object from the ground to the upward direction in a straight line motion. It is a very simple straight line motion, right? So with the initial velocity v, and it is reaching to the final point, highest point, where its final velocity is going to be zero, right? Where all of its kinetic energy is going to be consumed or dissipated, right? Into or dissipated into potential energy. Now, drag is air drag or friction is absent, so you don't have to overthink the question. Now, uh, his question is acceleration can be written in this format, right? So this a equal to v dv by ds, right? So at the highest point, velocity is zero, right? So isn't it counterintuitive, right? A की value v dv by ds, or a is always g. It is in the acceleration. Gravitational acceleration is going to act all the way through. ठीक है, टॉप पॉइंट पे भी उसकी gravitational acceleration लगेगा ही. So अगर a is not zero, right here, a is not zero. How? Because v is zero, and on the right hand side here it is going to be zero. So a is not zero, but since this is vanishing, so this is zero. Why and how? Now, firstly, I'll tell you that so acceleration due to gravity is going to act as a deceleration if you are throwing a ball in the upward direction. That is how velocity at the highest point is going to be zero. Once it has consumed all its kinetic energy, and it has been converted into when I say consumed, basically it is being converted into potential energy. So energy can neither be created nor destroyed, right? So energy conservation law. Now let me tell you. So you all know how this derivation came, right? So you can just take acceleration is equal to dv by dt, and you can just divide and multiply by ds. So dv by ds you can divide, right? And when you'll multiply, then if you're dividing, then you'll have to multiply, right? ds upon dt. S is nothing but displacement, right? So ds upon dt is nothing but velocity. So v dv by ds. Very easy, right? Now, I'll tell you one thing. So you start thinking about the question differently. So let's just calculate dv by ds from this expression. dv by ds. What will you get? I always say try to understand the physical significance of variables, any parameters, any unknowns in physics. So dv by ds is a by v. A, you all know physical significance of a here is acceleration, which is g. V is the velocity, right? And dv by ds, what do you think? Try to put it in words. I always suggest to my students, try to put everything in terms of words so that you can understand. शब्दों में रखो उसे. Try to understand in terms of statement. So dv by ds is what? Rate of change of velocity with respect to displacement. ds, right? Tell me one thing. If velocity is zero, if velocity is zero, can you can any amount of acceleration change the velocity? कैन यू मूव द ऑब्जेक्ट एट ऑल? आप वेलोसिटी किसी ऑब्जेक्ट की जीरो है, आप जितना फोर्स लगाना हो लगा लो, एक्सीलरेशन व्हाट आई मीन जितना एक्सीलरेशन लगाना हो लगा लो, क्या उस ऑब्जेक्ट को मूव कर पाओगे? नहीं ना, राइट? यू कैन नॉट मूव द ऑब्जेक्ट. नाउ इफ यू कैन नॉट मूव द ऑब्जेक्ट, dv by ds is going to be what? Zero itself, right? You cannot move. Now here what is going to happen if you are putting mathematically, if you are putting velocity equal to zero, this whole thing is going to be infinity. And in physics I always say, do not say infinity, say undefined. You'll get the feel that you cannot define this parameter, right? dv by ds cannot be defined. That means this whole expression v dv by ds is valid only when velocity is non-zero. dv by ds is equal to acceleration. This is only valid when dv by ds is when velocity is non-zero. So you cannot use this expression to confuse yourself to find out, okay, so things are not working out. So ऐसा नहीं कह सकते. Don't overthink. Okay. But this conceptual doubt was very good. So आप अभी समझ में आ गया, right? dv by ds will be, if velocity is zero, dv by ds has to be zero and acceleration has to be zero. Then this relation is valid. Okay, you cannot say velocity is zero, acceleration is finite, and then this expression is not valid. So this is valid only if velocity is non-zero. Okay, now the same student has asked one more thing: how to solve question without writing a lot of statements, lot of, you know, without writing every steps, like you do in, like you do in 12th or board exams, right? So how are you going to do that? So the student was saying that whenever he starts solving the question, what happens in the mock test, JE mock test, or even any examination, so he ended up sorry the so I don't know, so the students were saying that, so he was going to write everything, right? So for example, the way you do, show every step. See, only solution of this is for firstly प्रैक्टिस करो आप, उससे समझ में आ जाएगा. दूसरा, उसकी क्या प्रॉब्लम थी कि हर एक स्टेप नहीं दिखाना यार. You have to do in your minds as well things. For example, what I do, follow what I do. What I do is I quickly draw a sketch. अगर फिजिक्स का क्वेश्चन है एक, अगर नहीं भी बन रहा है स्केच तब भी उसमें स्केच बना लो, उसमें दिखा दो कि क्या क्या गिवन है. अगर डायग्राम है तो फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम बनाना ही बनाना है, ठीक है. तो कहीं कहीं फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम बनाना मस्ट. तो कोई भी ऐसे स्केच बना लो, उसमें दिखा दो क्या क्या गिवन है. ऐसे ही फॉर यू इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट. उसके बाद स्किप द स्टेप्स, छोटे छोटे स्टेप. स्टेप पे मार्क्स थोड़ी ना मिलने वाले हैं आपको. तो आपका माइंड एंड योर हैंड इज गोइंग टू बी इन सिंक विद ईच अदर, सो दैट वट एवर यू आर थिंकिंग इट शुड बी. एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने में 5 मिनट, आई डोंट नो, लाइक ठीक है कितने, 2 मिनट 3 मिनट जितने भी देते हो आप, उस उतने में आपको सारा डेटा याद रहेगा. डोंट वरी कि यू विल फॉरगेट, सो यू हैव टू राइट इट ना. इट वुड बी इन योर माइंड. तो आपको वो प्रैक्टिस से आएगा. बाय द वे, अभी 11th वाले बच्चे जो जेई की प्रिपरेशन शुरू किए हैं साथ में, सो इट वुड बी डिफिकल्ट फॉर देम मैनेजिंग बोथ द थिंग्स. सो स्किप इट. सो यू डोंट शो एवरी स्टेप, और ये प्रैक्टिस से आएगा धीरे धीरे. ओके, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग द वीडियो, राइट. So subscribe to my channel, tell your friends about it, try to get as much as help you can, and if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe it, and have a great learning. All the best. Thank you. और बहुत सारे वीडियोस हैं मेरे चैनल पे, सो प्रीवियस ईयर के स्पेशली, सो उनको एक बार जाओ देखो, ठीक है. एंड दे आर, आई हैव ट्राइड माई बेस्ट टू एक्सप्लेन इट वेल, so आपको समझ में आएगा. एंड डू राइट योर सजेशन इन द कमेंट सेक्शन, एंड ऑल्सो, ठीक है. Okay, I think that was it. Okay, thank you.